Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Aaron. I go by Treffenwood on Discord.
And this is Josh. I go by Grumelzog on Discord.
Welcome back to Infamous. Don't have any news today, so I guess, have you guys watched anything cool lately?
No, I've been...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, no, I've been on vacation the last couple days, but I have been reading through the John Carter of Mars Barsoom series, and it's fantastic. Highly recommend.
Cool. Aaron?
I'm most of the way through season 5 of House. That's what I've been doing.
It gets a little off the rails later. The only part of the show I really didn't like, though, was the season where like the cop is the bad guy because he's like trying to expose him for being an addict. I really didn't like that villain character. It felt very much to me like the same old like random guy has infinite power, and like they portray the cop as like just because he's a cop he can do whatever he wants, and it's just like very not true to the whole way that everything would work. He's like, I'm just going to decide to prosecute you. It's like, well, that's A, not his decision, and B, not even part of his job. Like, I'm very confused. But yeah, I liked the rest of House, even if some of it was very unrealistic. So I watched season 2 of Andor. Have you guys seen it?
No, it's on my list of things I need to do rapidly.
Mm-hmm. So I won't talk about any of the plot point stuff. But there was one thing that kind of threw me, and it's probably because I was watching it while painting terrain. I don't recall any other time in Star Wars, unless it was an alien species who could not physically speak English, like the Wookiees, where they use other languages. Like, I thought it was just like a given that the whole galaxy spoke the same language.
Pretty much.
Can you guys?
It's Wookiees and Ithorians, which are the slughead people that speak out of the side of their mouths, they have to speak a different language. And then...
Yeah, because they like physically struggle to speak the way humans do.
Yeah. And then, other than that, not really. Even in Mandalorian, like, it's kind of not full fleshed out, but there's enough of a Mandalorian language to, like, kind of piece together some words and stuff and sentences.
Yeah.
They didn't use any of it. So, no, actually, I can't really think of any. Everyone speaks English, space English.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's a time in Andor season 2 where they go to the equivalent of Space France, from what I can tell, and just everyone there also speaks whatever common language everyone else speaks, but then they also speak their own language. And from what I can tell, it's the only planet where people just have their own language, and they commonly will transition between that and like the common tongue. And it just threw me because I'm like listening to it, and they would start speaking another language. I have to look up and read subtitles. Like, this is actually really annoying because I picked this because I wouldn't have to read subtitles, and so it was kind of off-putting. But I just couldn't remember another time in Star Wars where that would happen, because the old trope was they'd give it to you through exposition of like Chewie would say something and Han would respond in a way that made his statement obvious, right?
Yeah,
and that's like the whole way they'd always done that. Like the droids, same thing. They always do that. Like, we'll just make it obvious through exposition what the person said. And so it was just very weird in Star Wars having that happen.
Sebulba the Doug, episode 1, also speaks in his own language. Exclusively.
Cheska Sebulba. Anyway. But yeah, I very much liked Andor season 2.
I've heard nothing but great things about it. I need to just sit down and watch it. But I like to... When I watch TV, I generally do binge watching.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience to, like, wait on a cliffhanger. And so I'm like, I'll just wait for the whole show to be out and then watch the whole thing at once.
Yeah. I mean, it's all out, so...
Yeah, it's all out now.
Yeah. It's been out for, I think, a couple weeks now, at least.
I believe so.
I will say that I think Andor season 1 was better. Season 2 was very good, though.
I'm trying to think
right now.
Go ahead.
I'm working my way through Rings of Power season 2.
Is that the Lord of the Rings one?
What'd you say?
Is that the Lord of the Rings one?
Yes. Did you not watch it?
I watched one single episode, which was the first episode.
Okay.
And,
of the first season, yeah.
It completely broke me, and I will never watch it. So,
is that because you can't, consolidate the difference in timelines?
Partially that, partially I don't know how many times I have read Lord of the Rings, and my copy has the extended lore bits that give you everyone's genealogy and all the little stuff that goes on in the background. And so I would read it, and then I would at least attempt to read the Silmarillion. And so I watch it, and I'm just like, for me, it feels a lot like when I tried to watch the Halo show, where someone somewhere wrote a script, and they had an idea, but
whitewashed Halo over the top of it.
Yes, and they were like, they're like, well, we're cowards, so we can't do this if there's not an IP attached to it, because we're risk adverse. So we're just going to slap an IP on top of what you've already written, kind of mix it around a little bit, and then go. I believe that's actually... Did you watch Witcher?
No, I did watch all the stuff with Henry Cavill.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, that's actually directly what happened to The Witcher, is the main writer had like written a show, didn't get it published, and so but then like Netflix got the rights to The Witcher, and they're like, cool, the show's now The Witcher. We're going to do
So what
this.
I had heard, and I don't know for sure, this is just the third hand I've gotten, is the show was reasonably true to the original content for the first couple seasons. And then they started getting further and further away from canon. And that's when Henry Cavill said, basically, I'm not going to do the show if you're just going to ignore the story that already exists. And that's why they separated.
Pretty much from what I understand, yeah. Because he wanted to do Geralt in a really specific way that's close to the book novels.
Yeah.
And they were kind of just being like, be quiet, dumb hot man, and act. And he's like, I don't actually have to do that if I don't want to. So
yeah. But from what I heard, the original seasons were actually pretty close, as opposed to the whole thing just being off.
Yeah.
As where I know that's been everyone's complaint about Rings of Power that I've heard is it's not my Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, okay, sure, but the number of people in the world that have read the pre-Lord of the Rings novels is very small compared to the general public, right?
Yeah.
And so I understand that from what I've been told, and mostly this is coming from Richard, is that the show just can't exist if you just go by the actual timeline.
Oh, it would be
what happened.
It would be impossible,
right? Because they're basically condensing 3,000 years of timeline into 3 years in the show, because it doesn't work otherwise. Because this shit happened so far apart that it's like the elves are the only ones still in the show, and so you have to rehire new actors, and all this shit would have to change, and you wouldn't be able to keep a storyline going. But there are parts that they didn't need to change, right? There's so many half elves in the entire history of the Lord of the Rings mythos. There's only been I think they said 7. It's a very low number.
It's a very small amount. Yeah.
And then they keep bringing oh well, this person's a half. I was like, no, they're not. Don't say they are if they're not. There's no advantage in it other than the fact they just want to do this. And I kind of get that, that kind of stuff. Why are you changing it for no benefit? Just some guy in an office somewhere is just moving a pen around, doing stuff for no reason. I don't like that stuff either, but I am enjoying the show so far. I am very happy that it exists because I get more Lord of the Rings content. And if it's not the same content that you want, that's fine, but I've enjoyed it. So
I think all of my brothers like it, and they watch it as it comes out. But I just if I'm going to spend time to watch a TV show, I need to be hooked. And I watched the first episode, and I was just like, I'm not really hooked. I kind of don't care. So
I'll say the first season, especially the first episode, is really just kind of kicking the tires. And they do a lot of this, trying to weave in, you don't really know what's going on until the last episode of the first season.
Yeah.
Because they want to build intrigue and suspense towards 2 specific characters. And if you just knew in advance who was who, then it wouldn't, all of it's gone. So I understand kind of why they wanted to do it. I don't think it's the best show ever, but I think it's fun to watch. And as an outsider looking in, because I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, I like Lord of the Rings, but I haven't read the novels. I experienced the movies. The movies were amazing, and they made me very excited about the franchise. But like if you go back and look at it, it's like there's so low magic in the Lord of the Rings movies. Like there's almost none. Like it's fantasy in name alone, really. Like
Yeah.
the rings don't do anything. One of the rings makes somebody invisible, and that's it. Like that's the minorest amount of magic ever, and it's never really explained to people that don't know like what the rings are doing and everything. So going to the show, they make the magic more obvious, and so like what the little minor things are happening in the background feel more impactful to the world.
That's fair. I'm trying to think, is it like just Gandalf on the bridge of Khazad-dûm is the only time we see magic?
He uses a fair amount of magic, but it's all extremely subtle. So like he casts light, he uses the fireworks. Let's see, he does the shield type thing on the bridge. He does the lightning bolt when he kills the Balrog. He casts light at one of the Nazguls once.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and he's like this great wizard. Like, I guess he exorcises Theoden technically, but like, there's almost no magic there from him. Like, it's just he's there.
Yeah.
And so they do it subtly, which is fine. Like, I don't need giant, light shows, but it just, to an outside person, he just looks like a wise man, basically.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how Tolkien uses wizards as well. They're more like wandering wise men than like lightning bolt, like
and from what I hear, like their place in the world is they're more like angels than wizards.
They
like,
are
kind of like
technically in the hierarchy of Lord of the Rings, the equivalent of angels. Like Sauron and Gandalf are the same thing, just removed on certain pathways. Do they pull out any, I guess, spoilers? I'll ask a spoiler question. But it's been out for a while. They have Sauron in the show, right?
Sure, yes.
Okay. I just didn't know if they started pulling out any of his extended titles that he has.
So that's kind of the...
Because he summons werewolves at one point in the lore. Like, he has werewolves under his command. And vampires, too, I think.
So you saw the first episode.
Yes.
So you know that Galadriel is in the show, and her whole purpose is to hunt down Sauron. Like, that's what she does. So the intrigue of the first season is kind of who is Sauron, because they don't really know. They just know that he is like the servant of Morgoth or whatever. And so it's her trying to track down who it is, or if he's still around, or if he's gone. And that's kind of like the intrigue of who is who. And they kind of sprinkle doubt among several characters throughout the season. This could be Sauron in disguise. And I will say, at the point I am in the show, they've done a good job of making Sauron seem like a very menacing figure that could potentially take over the world. And so I think they've done a good job of that. Aaron, do you like Lord of the Rings?
Yes. Not a fanboy, but I like it. I have not seen The Rings of Power, but it's on my to-watch list.
Speaking of Amazon Prime shows, did you watch Wheel of Time?
Mm-hmm.
Was it enjoyable?
It was. I always thought it was going to be difficult for them to do the entire series in X many seasons. They just canceled it after, is it 3 or 4 that they canceled it after? I don't remember which one.
Oh, I thought it was still on its first season.
No.
So we got 3 or 4 seasons?
Yep.
And it got canceled.
Yep. I think it was 3 seasons and canceled. Just because it was so expensive to make and the viewership didn't meet the numbers that needed in order to justify the expense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite book series by far is Dresden Files, and there's a Dresden Files TV show. I don't know if you guys were aware. It is not good. It is so untrue to the books as well. Like, it's not even the same character. Like, it's so different. Every single character you meet in the series is like an inversion of who they should be. But I can still watch the show and enjoy it for what it is, which is basically like B-movie television. But yeah, like the arch enemy of the main character is like his love interest in the TV show, and then like there's this character called Ancient Mai in the book series, and she's this like incredibly old Asian wizard, And in the show, she's like a 20-year-old. And it's just like, why? Like, why did you do this? Like, it's so weird that you chose to make this random adjustment that makes no sense.
You know, we do get soon.
What's that?
Primal Season 3, baby. You gonna watch it?
We're just now on season 3. I thought that show's been out for like 10 years.
No, Primal's only been out for like 5 years. And it's...
I'm not excited to watch it. I probably won't, but I'm not saying I won't. I'm
You
just
should.
saying I probably won't.
It's great. It's highly
My
entertaining.
interest level is like a 2 out of 10.
You're missing out. That's all I'm saying.
I
It's
might
one-
be.
It's the only... I mean, to be fair, it's not that long of a show. But it's the only show that I like. I watched, and then the next day, I watched it all again. Because I was like, this is freaking awesome. And then I bought the Blu-ray the day it came out. I was like, I have to own this. Because in general, if I like a movie or show enough, I'm like, I would rather own the digital or like own the physical version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can never take that away or delete it off of streaming or bounce it around. It's like, you just have it. You can watch it whenever you want. Good to go.
I don't own a optical drive. Well, I guess I do technically. It's in my old laptop, which does not work. So I own an optical drive. It's just not functional.
That's the only reason I keep my PS4 around.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it in years now. I'm like, well, it still plays discs. We're good to go.
Yeah, my 360 used to be my DVD player, and then it finally shat to bed.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the Red Ring of Death?
Yeah, I actually had 3 of them Red Ring on me, I think.
Really?
I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. So I got the first gen like right out of the box, right? And they were infamous for doing it. And I had that one for like, I think it was like 5 years, and it was fine. And then it red ringed on me once, and it was still they still had like the warranty thing going, and so they replaced it. It got a brand new one, and it worked for a long time. And I think it red ringed eventually as well. And then I just went out and bought one used for like $60 a long time later, and I was just using it to play like the games I still owned. Like I think it was mostly Rock Band is what I was playing on it. And we would just play at parties and stuff. And then my friend asked to borrow it because he wanted to play one of like, I want to say it was like Skyrim or something like that he had bought, and like his broke. And I was like, yeah, you can borrow it, I guess. You just know, because I'm very particular about my stuff. I'm like, just be careful with it, treat it nice, because like it is a piece of equipment I own and I don't want to replace it. And so he's like, oh yeah, it only worked for like a week and then it died. I'm like, well, the whole problem with like the red ring is like they overheat. And so I was like, did you take care of it? And he's like, yeah, I didn't do anything. And so I went over to get it, and he had it, his entertainment center is in front of a window, and it's like pointed directly at the back, and he had literally shoved it in the tiniest hole ever with no airflow. And I was like, no wonder it died. And he's like, it wasn't my fault. I'm like, it's 100% your fault. I never should have let you borrow it.
Yeah, I get that. My little brother's, when I bought my GameCube many years ago now, it came with the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition disc. And it had the first 3 Zeldas, and then Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, right? And I grew up, N64 was my first console, so Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask on repeat. One of those games that I'm like, cool, I know where everything is. I'm basically just speed running because there's nothing left for me to explore. And I let them take the GameCube away to college. And they lost that disc. And the only way to replace it is $200 on eBay. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. But I even specifically told them before, I was like, do not lose this. Do not lose this. This cannot be replaced. I bought this before you even existed.
Yeah.
Do not lose this. And they're like, yeah, we got you. I still have the case, but the disc is long gone.
So speaking of video games that you treasure and love, are you going to play City Heroes?
It is on the list. I just broke from Guild Wars. Been playing a shit ton of Guild Wars. So I need to take a break from... Well, I'm going to be hypocritical because I'm going to say take a break from MMOs, and then some buddies talked me into playing the new Dune game, which is technically a survival
Yeah.
MMO. So I'm going to play that, but they tend to burn really hard on games
And then Burnout.
and then burn out. And so, like, it came out a week ago. I've been on vacation, downloaded it. I got back. I still had today off. Downloaded it. I've been playing, but then, like, I put in, let's see, put in like 9 hours today, and then I looked at him, and he already has 120 hours. And so I like finally got onto his server. He's like, "Yeah, man." Da, 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 da. He's like, "No, just play and like and enjoy the game. Like you'll catch up when you catch up." And I was like, "I don't think I will catch up. Like by the time that I'm getting near to you guys,
Yeah, you're gonna
you'll
triple
be
that.
done with the game. Like the game, like it's very solid. It feels great. It's a fun con game, and so they released it, and it just needs more into it. And then the other problem with those kind of games is once you've rushed to do everything, there's nothing left for you to do. Like there's not really an end game sort of thing. Because it's literally, Conan Exiles? We've talked about it before.
You say Exiles, and I always think of the MMO they made, which is not Exiles, I believe.
No.
That's Conan Age of War or something?
Something like that. Hold on. It's on Steam. Look real quick. What's wild is that MMO is still getting DLCs. Like the Conan MMO that came out in 2011, I think.
That sounds right.
They still are like, yeah, dude. We're gonna make DLCs
I mean, I'm happy
every
for
year.
them
I'm like,
because
I didn't know it had that big of a player base.
well, it probably doesn't. It probably just has devs that really care about the game, which is nice.
Let's see, what is that game called?
But yeah, I've been playing City Heroes again lately with my friend Simon. He works at the store, and I almost messaged you a couple of those times, like, "Hey, you should jump on. I'll show you how to play," because he basically made a new character from scratch. And we were playing.
Yes. After they burn through, man, I really want to play this code now. Oh, and I own it. After they burn through Dune Awakening, and I get some time into it, that is probably my game plan, is to hop onto City of Heroes. So, because it looks like one of those ones that I can kind of like play for a bit, work on some painting, play for a bit, work on some painting. Like, it doesn't, like I watched some stuff, it doesn't feel rushed. You know what I mean? Like I can really play at my own pace, as opposed to like some MMOs, you got to really be hitting the ground, running, getting into anything. Like
no, there's not like weeklies or dailies or anything. Yeah, you can definitely play however much you want to play.
Yeah. Then we'll be set.
Aaron, do you want to play City Heroes?
Probably not.
Damn it.
Do you like MMOs, Aaron?
Yes and no. I played MMOs for about 3 years of my life, really, really hard. And so, those two MMOs were Warhammer Age of Reckoning and Rift.
We can re-download Age of Reckoning if you want, Aaron. It still exists.
I don't know if you're.
I know.
I don't know if you're here that week, but it does have a fan server where you can still play it.
It is,
which is funny that all three of us have played Warhammer Age of Reckoning, and Now hold on, Josh. Did you play Rift?
No, I never got around to Rift. I was
going to go 2 for 2. We all played both those games.
I had a buddy that was really into Rift, and he begged me to play. And
it was so much better.
All I had was like, well, the thing is I just had like a kind of crappy laptop that could run WoW, but not Rift. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep playing WoW because otherwise my computer will explode. So
Rift was pretty cool.
I got deployed in 2018 for 9 months to the Middle East, but I was able to take a laptop, and I had a ton of time. It was a pretty cush deployment, and so I downloaded and paid for WoW. Figured I'd give that a shot, and I did not renew the subscription past 1 month.
Yeah.
So it all depends on what type of MMO.
Because I know you like your ARPGs.
Yep. And there's not a huge difference between that and an MMO, other than the obvious, you can play an ARPG just by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do an MMO to some extent that way. Like, I mean, I'm sure every MMO is different in terms of how you are incentivized to interact with other people. I'd say the main difference is the instanced rating or dungeons.
Yeah, in City Heroes, almost all missions and storylines that you get are instanced, much like Diablo 4 was, where it's like you would walk to a place and sometimes you'd have like a kill X number of thing, and that's just open world, and so there could be people around doing that as well. But if it's like, hey, go do this, kill this guy, bring back the thing, and like that's always going to be instance. You just go to a mission door, go in, do your thing. You're in a private zone, and then you come out and you're done.
Sure, but how much gear is locked behind this dungeon that requires a 6-person party, or this raid that's 24 people, or whatever the case may be, right? That's the difference in my mind between an MMO and an RPG.
Yeah, there is no gear in City Heroes. What you get are enhancements, which you can get everything you need on your own. You don't need help from anyone to get a full gear set, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
The only thing I would say that you would kind of need, which you could circumvent, is like the quote unquote end game raid equipment that you would get. The whole point of it is to do the end game raid type stuff, which they call trials. And so if you don't want to do group content, then you just wouldn't do those. But that's like, you don't need the stuff unless you're doing the things. So
yeah.
But also it's like very user friendly compared to like a WoW raid where it's 4 hours of doing something. Like you can run a trial. Most of the trials take 30 minutes.
Yep.
And then if you want to do the big ones, they take like an hour.
I just saw, I'm going to jokingly call it the pooping simulator game that I love to play. Got a big update. I might have to re-download this. Because it's one of those, you guys know what like RimWorld is?
No, it sounds familiar.
So it's a sim game, right? You're not directly controlling your people. You kind of like assign them tasks and you got to like build up your stuff. But there's this little indie one. I think it's made by like one guy called Clan Folk. And you basically are trying to play a Scottish Highland clan and you got to like build up your village and like do all this. But with all these games, they're obsessed with the little details. And so your people have to go poop, right? Like you have to go build a outhouse for them. But I bought it when it first came out and it didn't really have a tutorial or good explanation. And so I was getting these spirals of depression from my people and they were not working. Then they would starve to death and I wouldn't make it through winter. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this happening? So I like pause the game and I'm going through and like reading all of their mood. No, I'm like reading through all their moods because they have moods and stuff. And they're like unhappy, unhappy, unhappy. And finally I found one and it was like one of them was unhappy because he didn't have anywhere to poop. So he was just pooping in the street. And I would like see these on the map. I'm like, what is going on? And then the other one, I didn't realize you had to build a door. And so I basically just like dug a hole in the ground and they would go there. But people would walk past and they'd get really sad about it and they would spiral into like depression and then everyone starved to death. So I jokingly call it the poop simulator game.
Nice. Reminds me of Oxygen Not Included. Either of you guys played that one?
No, I looked at it a few times.
I really enjoyed it. It's similar to I think what you're getting at is like you have to feed and provide outhouses for them, your little people to go to. And then they need to wash their hands. And what do you do with the wastewater? And if you like simulation games, I really enjoyed Oxygen.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that on wish list. That looks right up my alley.
I think it's still on my wish list.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Oh, I have a bit of a long story if you want to go ahead.
I was just going to say, my wish list is like 50 long. There's stuff that's been on there since like 2021. I'm like, buy it eventually. Like, it'll be all right.
So when I lived in my old house in Olathe, like I said before, we had 4 people living in the house, 5 at one point, and we all played games together because we were all friends from the game store. And so basically when everyone got off work, we would just jump online, and then we'd usually play like League or something else. But sometimes they'd be like, hey, I want to play this game. And so we would all just jump on the game they wanted to play. And we were all in voice chat, just hanging out in the house. And the game that they decided that they wanted to play was some sim type game. I've never played any sim type games before. But so I don't even know what the game was called that we were playing. But we all had our own little cities. and we were all like within a highway drive of each other. And so we were this collection of cities, and we we're all competing to build the best city. And we've been playing for about 2 hours, and there's a lot of banter going back and forth, people calling each other idiots and stuff. And randomly, one of the guys pops up. He's kind of gets shit on a lot. He's the guy in the group that always like takes shit. And he's like, "Hey, Alan, send me a fire truck." And he's like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna send your goddamn fire truck." And it's like we're all just playing. And like every 5 minutes, he's like, "Hey, I'll give you like so much money for a fire truck." He's like, "No, I'm not going to give you a damn fire truck. That's stupid. Fire trucks are easy to get anyway. I don't even know why you're asking for one." And this goes on for like another 40 minutes. And he's like, "Alan, please, I'm begging you, send me a fire truck." And he's like, "Hold on a second." So he like moves his camera over to his city, and literally his entire city's on fire. Because he just never invested in the fire departments. So multiple fires started, and they just spread throughout half of his city. And every time he went to build a fire station, it wouldn't complete before the fire got to it and burned it down.
That's fantastic.
It's just completely gone unchecked. And like 90% of his people had fled the city. It's just like there's no one left to man the facilities he's built, and so he's just watching his city burn to the ground. It was so funny.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He's just like, "Alan, send me a fire truck." Oh man, I had forgot about that until you told me about the Sim story. All right. Whew. All right, Aaron. We'll set up a day for you to try out City Heroes, see if you like it.
I'm happy to try it.
Yeah. Josh, how long till you can try it? You gonna give your Dune game like another 2 days?
It'll probably be about 2 weeks. I've still got a ton of stuff to do, and I would like to get a little more painting done. Because I'm a slow painter, and if I'm going to go to Vegas, I would like to have it done. So, it'll be. No, it's not. That's not till October. But
yeah, I'm just used to it being in January, so I'm like,
that
that's
will take
way far
me
away.
a lot of time to get there because I paint in bursts, and I got to paint these stupid ninjas. So, but yeah, the Dune will probably be another 2 weeks of me playing. They'll have burned through it, and I'll be like, cool. I'll wait for this to get updated with more exciting things. They also don't let you play as a Fremen, which is like the most interesting part of Dune to me. So
I don't know anything about Dune. Every time somebody tries to explain it to me, it's just I start hearing circus music, and I'm like, oh my god, this sounds so dumb. And it's like, no, it's so cool. I'm like, all right, whatever.
It's very cool, but it's madness. It's utter madness.
Let's see, what were we talking about earlier? Oh yeah, you had mentioned Old World.
Yes.
So Jim, a guy up at the shop, is starting a Mordheim League.
Is he now?
Yeah.
I might look into that, because I was really close to pulling the trigger on Mordheim when Trench Crusade dropped.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting on my Trench Crusade stuff, which is fine. That's okay. I think I'm actually fucking over CJ, because
do I owe you Trench Crusade stuff?
No.
Okay, I was like, did I forget to make something?
No, so I had you print stuff. I bought files for the game.
Gotcha.
But then I also ordered physical stuff. Because I didn't really think ahead, and I should have just bought the files, right? Then I always had it. It would have been an equivalent cost exchange, I guess. But CJ and I are still waiting for our models from the Kickstarter to arrive. But I think I'm fucking him over, because I ordered one specific faction, Trench Pilgrims, let's go, and all of the mercenaries. Well, how they're doing it is they're printing like everybody that got just one faction, they're doing all of those. Then they'll do everyone that got two factions, right? Well,
gotcha.
I think because we share an address,
he's not
getting his stuff, and he only ordered one faction. And so we're both like, man, this has to be on its way any day now. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. But I am, yes, very interested in Mordheim. So that would be something I'll have to look into. Because it's completely dead by GW, right?
Well, he's playing the old school Mordheim, like the stuff that came out in like the early 90s. But yeah, I think they did a reprint Mordheim box set that had like some like quick play rule stuff. I don't know how in depth it was. I didn't really look at it. But yeah, we'll be playing the old Mordheim, and so there's a fan curated stuff, kind of like Blood Bowl was for a long time. It's Broheim, yeah, broheim.net, and then you can go. There's all the war bands and PDFs, all the rule books and PDFs, all the expansion rules. Like there's rules for like Black Powder and stuff, and it's all in there. And there's like fan rosters and all kinds of cool stuff.
Fantastic. Well,
yeah,
I know what I'll be doing at work tomorrow.
Yeah, and he's got a bunch of the old models, and so like he's got a couple like lend out war bands, and then also it's easy to find stuff, right? Usually you just pick something and you're like, these are really easy. If you're interested, I have several files also I can print.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I think I actually somewhere on my Instagram or something, I follow a lot of people that do like the 3D sculpting, just because I like to see what they can come up with. And I think I have had stuff saved when I was interested in Mordheim. So I'll have to see what you have, see what they got. I got to figure out how to play first, but
it's incredibly easy, especially if you've ever played a GW game, because it's all like the same thing. It's all just strength and wounds and stuff.
Do they let me play orcs? Looks like they do.
Yeah, remind me after this is over. I'll send you some pictures. There's a couple artists I found that exclusively do Mordheim stuff, and so they have got fully modular kits with like all the different weapons and stuff your teams can have.
Fantastic. My OCD makes me have to have WYSIWYG, so yeah, I'd be down to try that out. Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. And I've played in Mordheim leagues before. They're mostly just like screw around for a couple hours every weekend. And it's fun.
Yeah.
There's one of the results you can get when your people get knocked out of the game, instead of dying, they get injured. And then after the game, you roll on the injury chart to see how injured they were. Well, one of the injured results is taken hostage. So the enemy warband captures one of your people, and then it literally just says you have to barter with the other player to get them back. And it's just you guys have to decide. And the one guy has the ability to kill your guy if he wants to, and you have to convince him not to. And so it's like you can give him stuff off your warband sheet. You can give him real money. You can. What we had with 1 week is like you have to paint one of my models, and then I'll give you your guy back. And like there's all kinds of fun shit like that. One guy made the guy who he captured. He made the warband leader buy him lunch, and it's like that's how he got his guy back.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump into Mojo World if you guys are ready.
Yep.
Alrighty. This week we're doing supernatural themed TV shows. So that is primarily anything that has to do with magic or monsters and shit like that. All right. Josh gets to go first, mostly because I forgot to include him in Mojo last week. We'll say that that's the reason. He also got the fewest votes, to be fair.
Yes. So, for this one, my opening one, I will need a ruling.
Okay.
If Twilight Zone counts as supernatural. When I looked up a list, it was the second.
I'm okay with that.
But, like, I can understand why. It's a little more science fiction than
really it is probably more science fiction. It's more like parallel reality.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It doesn't bother me too much if Aaron's okay with it.
I've never seen it, so
you've never seen Twilight Zone?
Cannot comment.
I would say Tales from the Crypt would probably be more up the right alley, but they're pretty similar.
Okay, well I'm not going to use it because I'm going to rule it as sci-fi, so I'm going to go with Penney Dreadful. I'm trying to stay on theme.
All right, I'm glad you said that one, because that's one I wanted to pick, but I didn't want to pick it.
I loved that show.
All right. Aaron, you're
up. We are going to go with Lucifer.
That was on my list. Lucifer is definitely in the vein of like cheesy CW supernatural shows, but I think it was one that maybe did it the best because it was always engaging and fun. All right. Well, so I'm going to go with this one. I'm sure I'm going to get some pushback just like Josh was worried about. I'm going to go with Fringe. But I specifically am saying it's not a sci-fi show because it is more in the fantasy realm for me. But it does deal with a lot of science-y stuff. And so, have either of you seen Fringe?
I have not.
No.
Okay. I'm just going to write free pass. All right. After Fringe, I'm going to go with Stranger Things. I like Stranger Things. All right. Aaron, you're up, sir.
I'm kind of debating if this one counts or not, and if it does, do I even want to take it?
Well, if you have better ones.
So, I would like to submit Quantum Leap.
What is supernatural about it?
There are a significant number of the episodes that deal with ghost possession, God, the devil.
Okay.
I feel like
I've never seen
at
an
its
episode,
core,
so-
it's just really. It's not even really sci-fi. It's a time travel experiment gone wrong is the premise, and the dude shows up in a random person's body every episode.
Yeah, I knew that.
There are a couple supernatural tinges to it, but it's probably not really in the heart, in the core of what we're talking about. Okay, I rescind it. I really want to submit it, but I'll
Okay.
rescind it. Instead, I'll take the X-Files.
I'd say Fringe and X-Files are very similar. All right, Mr. Penny Dreadful, what's your next pick?
I'm going to do Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which is a one-season show from Netflix that was absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed it. It was a nice little complete story all in one. Also, I cannot, to this day, I still can't hear the X-Files theme song without having a panic attack, because my dad loved X-Files when we grew up, but I was like 6 years old and I should not have been watching X-Files at all. And so you'll hear the little da 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 da. I'm like, I gotta leave the room. I gotta get out of here. This is not for me. I know. In hindsight, I've like watched some of it now. I'm like, oh, this is not that bad, really.
So what is it? It's like a
So it is a
what am I
story.
trying to think?
Of
Sherlock Holmes kind of thing?
Not necessarily. It's more like these two guys have magic, but they're wrapped up in a sort of weird prophecy that's been going on for like 800 years that involves the Fae. And so these two guys basically have magic around the time of like Napoleon. And it's not necessarily like lightning bolt magic, right? But one of them has like studied magic his whole life. The other finds out he just has a talent for it. But they also realize they're wrapped up into this sort of prophecy that's going on that they can't really stop. But it's not a bad thing if it happens.
No, okay, I was just curious. Yeah. All right. You are good. What's your last pick?
I'm going to go with Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That sounds familiar.
That's
the Tales from the Crypt, but for kids.
Yeah, they meet around the campfire. They tell scary stories.
Yeah,
but some of them are like witch stories or ghost stories or like that sort of thing. So
it's coming back to me now. Okay,
if you were alive during the early '90s, yes.
Yep. Okay, Aaron, you're up, sir.
We're going to go with what is the actual best show on my list. I just saved it because I knew it would still be there. Izombie.
Yep.
That show is so good, and it is a show that no one has seen, and they should. And
I've seen it. I watched all of it.
I know. You can't argue with that because you know it's true.
I will argue with it.
Oh! Ouch!
I will say it was better than I expected it to be.
Okay.
It's definitely something I will say. I think Santa Carlita Diet was better.
Oh, God, no.
But I can respect the opinion.
Okay. Yeah. It's probably I haven't seen every CW show ever made, right? But it's probably the best one. That's what I'm gonna say. And there's some good ones like Black Lightning, Veronica Mars, The Flash. Like there's some good CW stuff out there as long as you know what you're getting into. And this absolutely ranks up there. So just what they were able to do. So like Santa Clarita Diet, it was a good show, don't get me wrong. But the combination of horror with drama, with comedy, with romance that Izombie put together into this one show, and it worked. Anyway, I'll stop gushing on it. It was just a good. If you haven't seen it, you should watch the first 3 episodes. I don't remember what the first 3 are, but you'll know if you're into it or not.
All right. Final pick for me. I've got 3 that I want to pick now, and so this is harsh. I'm going to go with The Magicians. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it was on a normal TV station. It was just posted on Netflix. But it was pretty fun. I think it got canceled before it was officially done, but it ends on a pretty final note. But it was just well done. I think they did a good job of showing what like magic could be like. It's got a little bit of like Harry Potter and a little bit of Narnia feel to it. But yeah, it was a fun show. Okay. So now we've got honorable mentions. I would like to put forth What We Do in the Shadows, but I think it's really more of a comedy that just happens to have vampires in it.
That show's fantastic, and
it's really good.
I have almost pissed myself multiple times just watching it, because I'm like, this is so funny.
I'll pretty much watch anything with Matt Berry in it at this point.
Yeah.
Matt Berry is fucking hilarious.
Evil.
Did you?
It was also very good.
Mm-hmm. I've heard good things about that. Josh, have you? Did you know that when he yells "bat," that was originally improv?
Really?
He was like, "What do I do when I turn into a bat?" And they're like giving him direction. He's like, "We'll just do it in post." He's like, "But I need to like let people know that I'm now a bat and I'm no longer acting." And so like they know when to turn me into a bat. He's like, "Just say bat then." So like on the street he just yells "bat," and his character turns, and they just left it in. And so anytime he transforms into a bat, he just yells "bat."
That's fantastic.
It's fucking amazing. It's so ridiculous.
I need to go watch the movie sometime. I've never seen the movie.
I've heard the movie is because they're not directly related. It's just a continuation of the concept, but because it was what's his name? Taika Waititi. Yeah. And so it's all different people doing it, but I've heard it's very similar. And then another honorable mention, the show Supernatural. The only reason I didn't pick it is the Monster of the Week stuff is so boring and like hard to watch compared to like the actual long-term storyline of the show is actually really good. And so, but because it's the typical Monster of the Week premise to get people coming back, if you could cut all of that out and just watch the actual story of the show and the interactions between the characters, I would watch that on repeat. But I can only watch them, shitty choreography fights so many times. It's just like, okay, well, 20 minutes of every episode is just garbage, but the rest of it's really good. And so it's always hard for me to put it up there with other good shows.
My only honorable mention would be Aaron should watch Twilight Zone. It's classic science fiction, supernatural goodness from a bygone era, and it's great. I watch it probably every 3 years or so.
Where can I find this show?
Last time I watched it was on Netflix.
Okay, well, I have Netflix, so that's a possibility.
Let's see. Looks like maybe it's on Paramount right now.
I also have that one, so okay. When I get done with House in about 2 weeks.
It's really easy to watch. It's like, 25-minute episodes that make it up. It's basically like, the best way I think of it is like
sci-fi shorts.
Little short stories, yeah.
Okay.
It's sci-fi shorts with the premise of there's basically a narrator showing you at a peek through the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And so it's like alternate realities. Hey Josh, did you hear about the new atheist thing?
I did not.
It's a non-profit organization.
That was a good one. I enjoyed that.
I think we've done that one before, but I had it here.
Do you still get to get Jeremy with those?
I message them directly to him every time I tell him one.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, no, he's getting them. Don't worry. Aaron, do you remember a couple of weeks ago there was an issue with like our audio was off, like it was lagging, like one person was talking over another person on the Judgment Cast?
Mm-hmm.
I messaged Jeremy. I was like, "Hey, can you double check your save file and message it back to me, and I'll figure out if we can get this fixed." He just never messaged me back. So I was like, "All right, well, I guess we're not going to fix it." I don't know how to do anything if he doesn't help. The only thing I could imagine is that like his audio file got fucked up or he saved it wrong or something. But because I did all the things I normally do. Alrighty. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This has been Brandon.
And Aaron.
And Josh.
And you've just listened to The Twilight Zone.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.